Sort of. Look at this, it's like a tree. Doesn't this look like parm? This is so good. Hey there, welcome to Make It Vegan, where I show you traditionally non-veg dishes and make them deliciously vegan. I'm your host, Priyanka Naik. Today, we are gonna be making one of my personal favorite recipes, my viral Spinach Jalapeño Pesto. This recipe was actually born out of leftovers. I was on a very long shoot day. I brought a bunch of stuff home from the leftovers on that shoot because, you know, no waste gal over here. And I used whatever was in my fridge to create this dish, and lo and behold, it became one of my most popular dishes, and it's so easy to make. Wait, I have to show you something really cool. A fan made these spinach, oh my God, they're so cute, spinach jalapeno crocheted pastas. How cute is that? But this isn't edible, so we gotta make the real one now. So first we want to get ready to prep our pesto. This is probably the most difficult part of this dish, and it starts with baby spinach. I like getting the triple washed baby spinach just to really cut down the work for myself. And fun fact, when you actually cook spinach a little bit, it releases more iron than when it's raw. So we're gonna be really healthy in this dish. We're gonna wait for our water to come to a boil, and while we're waiting for that, we're gonna prep some of the other ingredients for the pesto. We wanna start with some garlic. Fresh is key here. I don't like using that jarred stuff because we want the sauce to be really fragrant and delicious. We don't want it to taste artificial. I'm gonna have my scrap bowl here. We wanna make sure to grab all of our scraps, put it into a bowl, and then I'll show you what I do with it later on. So for this, we're gonna use 2 cloves. It's time to release some anger. I need to do some upper body workouts. Okay, but we're just gonna get this crushed. And then we wanna get the peels off into our scraps bowl. And then I actually like to take these tough ends off just to ensure that we have a really smooth pesto when we blend everything together. Give this a rough chop. And you don't wanna use too much garlic in this. I know this is crazy for me to say because I'm like a self-proclaimed garlic girl. But because this sauce is pretty much raw, you don't want to have too much raw garlic flavor in it because then you're just going to stink for like a week. And as much as I love garlic, I don't want to smell like it for a week. The other unique ingredient in my pesto is some jalapeno. I got these beautiful jalapenos at my farmer's market. Look how cute they are. And I do a little test before adding the jalapenos to my pesto. I cut the top off. I take my pinky, rub it right at the top there. She's spicy. We're only gonna need 1. And I actually like to keep the seeds in this because I'm Indian. That would be like sacrilegious if I de-seeded any of my chilies. And just give this a really rough chop. Fun fact, pesto means to mash. So if you're watching this and you're like, girl, that's not a pesto, there's no basil, there's no pine nuts. Well, guess what? It really has no definition of what belongs in a pesto. So you could literally make a pesto out of anything. So this is my version. Now I wanna add like a little oniony bite without having too much onion. I hate raw onion, but I love green onions, and I think it adds a really nice aroma and flavor without being overpowering. So get those ends into your scrap bowl. And for our pesto, we just wanna cut the white parts off, like the really oniony part. That's what's gonna be blended into the sauce. And we're actually gonna save the green tops, these beautiful green tops, for our garnish. So we don't wanna throw that away. Just a little more. We're gonna add some basil to my pesto. Again, you could pretty much add whatever greens you like. This is just my version. I do love basil. It adds that sweetness. The smell of this is so, so beautiful. It's really gonna help balance out the flavor of the spinach and the jalapeno. So what we wanna do is just gently pick off our leaves. We don't wanna include a lot of the stem. That could be a little too rough when you're blending it down and it's a little too woodsy. We just want that sweet, fragrant basil. So you wanna take all these leaves off, and the more the better. This is gonna blend down. You'll notice you're using all of this stuff, but then it blends down into a fairly small amount. So the more you make, the better, because you can just store this in your fridge. You can use it on pizza, paninis, pasta, as a dip. And again, we're gonna put our stem into our scraps bowl. You always wanna add a little bit of acid to anything that you're cooking. In this case, I love to use some fresh lemon. We're gonna use not only the juice, but a little bit of the zest to really brighten up the flavors of the pesto. So you wanna use a microplane. And the best way to zest this is putting the blade against the peel versus doing it like this. This is way you can catch all of the zest and keep it on the side until you're ready to use it. You can go in like one straight swoop, but in this case, it doesn't matter how large or small the pieces are because everything's gonna be going in the blender. And then we wanna take the lemon and we just wanna cut a cheek. The reason why I'm cutting a lemon cheek is so that we can keep all of the seeds in the middle, and it's much easier to squeeze right into our pesto when we're blending it. I'm gonna do about 2 cheeks. Also, that word cheek is just so cute. So our water is at a rolling boil, so this process is gonna happen pretty quickly. We wanna take our baby spinach, add it to the water, and just basically cook it for like 2 to 3 minutes until it's slightly soft. All right. I just like to use some tongs and get in there and really make sure that all the leaves are coated. We're doing this so that we can really create a smooth and creamy pesto. If we put the spinach in raw, we might have a gritty pesto, and no one wants that. While our spinach is blanching for about 2 to 3 minutes, we've prepared an ice bath so we can immediately take the spinach out, put it into the ice bath, and stop the cooking process. This allows us to retain the color and texture of the spinach. So don't throw this water away. We're a no waste life here, so we're gonna be using this to boil our pasta later. Look, we're matching. All right, she's good. So we're gonna take our spinach out, bring our ice bath over, and plop it right in. So gorgeous. Now we're gonna add everything to our blender and get our pesto ready. We're gonna squeeze out all that moisture. We don't want a watery pesto, so as much of the water we can get out, add that to your blender. And since this water hasn't been salted, you can actually use this water to water your houseplants. I feel like I'm giving myself an ice bath for my hands. We're gonna go in with our basil, lemon zest, scallions, jalapenos, and garlic. And then we're gonna squeeze in our lemon juice, kosher salt, some freshly ground black pepper, and good quality olive oil. Let's give her a taste. First of all, just look at that color. Literally, we're almost identical. I just want to show you the color and texture. Little bit spicy, lemony. You can actually hardly taste the spinach, which is why I love this pesto, because it has so many nutrients, and the spinach adds a beautiful texture and color, and it's actually good for you. So you're probably wondering, Priyanka, how is this a pesto? There's no pine nuts in here. Well, there's gonna be nuts, but it's gonna be for our Parmesan topping. This is the make it vegan portion. Of course, the pesto's vegan, there's no cheese in it, but with pesto and any sort of pasta, you kind of want that cheesy feeling. Otherwise, it doesn't really feel like a complete meal. We're gonna do and make exactly that with some almonds. The base of our Parmesan are just raw, skinless almonds. That's right, nothing fancy. You can get these at the grocery store. I know they look a little weird, but it's basically regular almonds without the brown skin. And I love using these because it gives the texture, the feel, and color of Parmesan without it being dairy. So we're gonna take these and get a light toast on them. While we wait for our almonds to brown, we're gonna prepare our garnishes. We're gonna slice up our green scallions, and we wanna pick a few fresh basil leaves for our garnish. I like this guy. Look, so cute, like a little flower. So it's getting nice and fragrant in here. It smells like some almonds are toasting up. See, we want to see that nice golden color. So I like this place. So we're gonna get it onto our cutting board. Once your almonds have slightly cooled off, we want to just give them a very rough chop. Also, chef pre-tip on nuts, make sure to store them in the fridge because nuts have a lot of natural oils. So when you store them in a pantry versus a fridge, they can go rancid very quickly. Now that we have a rough chop on our almonds, we just want to scoop them up and get them into a mortar and pestle. To get that Parmesan flavor, to our almonds, we want to add a few ingredients. Some nutritional yeast. This is a vegan's best friend. This has that naturally cheesy flavor. We want to add some flaky sea salt and some freshly ground black pepper. And then using our pestle, we just want to break this all down. This is a great way to get out all of your aggression from the day. I just want to show you the texture. How fun is this? You could even make it a little bit finer, but even when you have regular parm and you break it down, it's not gonna be perfect. And I love the imperfection of this. So the same water that we use to blanch the spinach, we're gonna use to boil our pasta because we are a no waste kitchen here. To our water, we're gonna add a lot of kosher salt. This should be as salty as the sea. You should have flounder in here. You should have Ariel. You should have Prince Eric. Everyone should be hanging out in here. So before we get our pasta into the water, I wanna make sure to get my scraps to the mill. Guys, mill is a food recycler, so once you drop in your scraps, you can forget about it. It processes them on its own and doesn't smell at all. Literally so easy to keep food out of the trash this way. Now for the pasta. Just look at this pasta. Have you seen fusilli this big ever? Do you need it in your life? No, but should you have it? Absolutely. I love this shape because it's not only fun and gigantic and just dramatic, but the sauce will get into all of the grooves of the fusilli and it'll be so tasty. Plus it matches us curly haired girls. So if you have curly hair, this is the pasta for you. We want to make sure to have a rolling boil and salt your water very heavily and get your pasta in. Yay! They're going in and I can't see a thing. So our pasta is cooked, she's perfectly al dente. Now we're just gonna put everything together. So get your pasta into a pan, and then we wanna add our beautiful pesto. Oh my God, look at that color. Absolutely gorgeous. Then the liquid gold, some of that pasta cooking water. It has the starch, it has a little bit of salt. It's gonna add so much flavor to this. You just wanna gently toss this because you don't wanna break our beautiful long fusilli. Look at that color. See, I didn't even toss it that much and the sauce immediately sticks to the pasta. Okay. We gotta make sure to grab all of that sauce. She's a saucy girl. Now we're gonna top it with our almond parmesan. Oh my God, doesn't this look like parm? You should give this to a vegan hater and see what they say. Last two garnishes, some of those fresh scallions. Again, this is just gonna brighten up the flavor. You can even add a little bit of lemon zest if you want. And then our fresh basil. And there you have it, our beautiful spinach jalapeno pesto, 100% vegan. The moment of truth, the moment to make all of you jealous. And that's the only way to eat it. You can't eat it any other way. You have to eat it like that, otherwise it won't taste good. This is so good. No wonder why it's viral. Delicious. Thank you all for joining me on today's episode of Make It Vegan. I can't wait for you to tune in next week to see who I've invited as my guest chef and to make something deliciously vegan.